is going to hit way too hard for public. This is way too valuable to be in a public setting. Winston knows what I mean. Winston and Marcus know what I mean. Well,
Sir.
I don't joke around with these things. Marcus, let me tell you about this amazing call. I can't give you all the details in this setting, but I'll tell you the genius behind the money moves I made with Winston today. We're just talking shit, guys. Anyone who's just joining in, this is 4 minutes till the festivities actually start. We just got on to debug some technical issues, but I guess people start joining. But yeah, Marcus, I was saying the money moves. Winston's probably laughing in the background, laughing his ass off right now because it was just genius. Thousands of dollars of value delivered in one WhatsApp video call. I swear to God.
Sounds awesome, man.
Banks. Hello. Some people are sliding in my DMs coming into this space. Just to get you guys up to speed, we're 3 minutes from starting, talking about what people truly want. The real motivations in life and business. Because honestly, a lot of people fuck up, I think, because they're chasing shit they don't want. But we're 3 minutes from starting. Just got on to debug some technical issues, make sure everything's set up because it's our first basis.
Yeah. Okay.
Yeah, go ahead.
Yeah, no, nothing. Just continue. Continue.
You know, I was always skeptical about spaces because Twitter's full of fucking clowns. Like, no offense. Everyone in here is a G, I'm sure. Otherwise, you wouldn't have joined with a title like this. But Twitter's full of clowns. Like, they get on a space and I hear them, and they're big accounts, right? I can name drop them because what they're gonna do? Hit me? Like Zach, a bunch of these big. You've seen them. The profile pictures are familiar, and they get on spaces and they're like talking about tables in Dubai and like buying bottles and crap. I'm like, why would people devote time listening to their phone to listen to you talk about like there's no value. We're just talking shit now because it's 2 minutes from starting. Trying to set the mood. Natalie, hello. Some people I don't know in this space. Interesting.
Yeah.
But we got three G's at the top. Marcus, Allen, Winston. Winston's gonna be a fucking G, man. Talking to me, I mean both of you, Marcus and Winston, gonna be fucking G's. Talking to me every day. You have no choice but to sort out your life.
It's hard to stay poor when we're talking to you, man. I can
No,
see
yeah,
Isaac. I can see Isaac join as well. What's up, man? It's great that we have
cool.
a lot. We already have a lot of people inside. 5 people. That's good.
Yeah, to be honest, I thought it was just gonna be you and me, bro.
Yeah, same here.
So, guys who just joined, what we're gonna be talking about in 1 minute is what we truly want in life and business. Because, like I said, a lot of people fuck up, I think, because they're chasing shit they don't want. We're going to go into backstories. I'm a very private person. Marcus doesn't share a lot either. And we're just talking about the backstory behind all of that today. Winston left. He must have a call or something like that. So, yeah, it's going to be full of interesting stories and it's going to get real dark. So, I don't know where you guys are. You might want to sit down, get some glucose in your body, get a Gatorade. You're gonna need it for this shit. It's gonna drain the blood sugar from your body. No, yeah, it's been a fucking hell of a time. Anyway, it's 9, so let's get started.
Yeah.
Winston's back in time for the festivities. He just had to take a 1 minute call, make 10 grand in 1 minute. I'm sure that's what he did, obviously. So
He's back. Yeah.
he's back. This space is about what you truly want in life and business. I think a lot of people suck because they're chasing shit they don't want. They have good jobs. They have opportunities to make good money. They're on the internet, the same internet as people like me, where they can slide into DMs and start making 10K a month, no problem. But they don't DM me because they're losers. And they don't actually want to succeed. They just want to, feed all kinds of stuff that's in the background. It's actually quite fascinating. Instead of taking the soapbox, Marcus, why don't you go ahead and start? Tell us what your big grand goal is in life. Why you're doing what you do, why you're talking to me right now. Go ahead.
All right. Okay. So my big goal in life is to become free, financially free, that is, of course. And the reason why I'm talking to you it's because I think you have something valuable you can offer me. And the reason behind I'm doing all of this is mostly for my family's sake. Come from, poor family, middle class, maybe something like that. Live in a comfortable country, though. I can't complain about the country and the situation here. It's kind of peaceful. I'm from Norway, by the way. Yeah.
Yeah, so for those of you who don't know, Marcus and I work quite closely together, and we're extremely different in certain ways. So I've commented about this to him before. This whole space is about motivations, like why we actually do what we do in life and in business particularly. And I find it very interesting how many people do it for their family, because I've never had a connection to family. I mean, I'm completely cut off. So it's really fascinating to hear a lot of people cite that as reasoning. But can you kind of explain that, Marcus? Like, do you feel like a sense of duty, like because they fed and clothed and put a roof over your head for years, or do you love them, or like explain to me that emotion, because I'm kind of retarded in that department.
Yeah, no worries, man. All right. So, yeah. Okay. Obviously, I love my family. I have feelings and stuff like that. So, I want to provide. I want to give back to those who fed me and brought me up. And they gave from the little that they had to make sure that I was living a comfortable life. And they did a really good job at it. Can't complain at all. I had a turbulent childhood, though. But all in all, feel really good about it, and I want to give them back. So, yeah, I'm trying to do this on my own, though, and I think that's it's a challenging step to take into, if you take the step into entrepreneurship, you're kind of going on your own path and not follow the laid out path most people are walking. I think it's challenging, so it's really nice to have people like Alan to support and back you up.
Yeah. How long actually were you doing it before you started getting my foot up your ass every day?
So when I left the military about a year ago, I started right on because I didn't know. I knew that I want to do something on my own because I've had been in the system for 3 years almost. So I started right
Right.
on, but yeah, it took a long time to get used to it. But yeah, I had some good things from the military, the discipline and stuff like that. So I sat my ass down and worked for 1 year straight until I met you. It didn't come very far though. Can't say I did.
You mean talking to me or working a year?
Yeah, the year.
Okay, good. That's the correct answer. Because if you said working with me, then I'll kick you out of your own space. uh, anyway, yeah, guys who just joined, Marcus and I are pretty tight. We've been working together for a while. He's a fucking G. Guy went from zero coding experience to making like a full clone of Discord that's like gonna be ready and published today. So front end, back end, everything for those of you guys who do any programming. It's kind of impossible, we were saying just now, to be poor if you talk to me like this every day. Because this energy is like 40%. I'm like chilling. I'm smoking cigar, sitting on carpet. I don't have a shirt on. It's chill. It's like 9 p.m. right now. But for most of the day when I have energy, it's full on balls to wall. And if you're a coaching client, man, there's no mercy. I wake up at 2:30 in the morning after sleeping 4 hours, text you, ask you if you've done some shit, and then go back to sleep. Sometimes I wake up in the middle of my 4 hour blocks. It's not a joke. Cash is always rolling. Anyway, so going back to the topic, what do we truly want in life and business? So Marcus has done his spiel. My spiel is actually kind of interesting. I don't hear it very often. It's kind of hard to believe, but if you meet me in real life, you'll kind of know what I'm saying is true. I'm a psychotic, murderous motherfucker. I've been hurt bad. I put a post out today, a tweet out today, about this vibe, and to be honest, everything that I've ever done and will ever do comes from just tremendous hurt and pain. And if you want to put it that way, you can say it's kind of a coping mechanism. All the coding, all the smartness, all the sales skills, all the charisma, all the pizzazz, all my talking, speaking multiple languages, traveling all over the place, knowing people, asking for shit that I don't deserve and getting it most of the time, that all comes from just hurt. Tremendous fucking hurt. And is like one event that we don't have to get into on this space because that's a long story, but it started early, and I just put all my chips in this basket. All my chips I put in this basket at an early age, at the formative years, and during the formative years, and it completely blew up in my face in the most tragic way possible, and that completely screwed up everything in an amazing way. Because when you're driven by an event, a tragedy where you lost everything, you don't care about rejection, you don't care about fear, you have nothing left to lose. The most important thing in your life is gone, and it's you are blessed with just that happening in the beginning rather than the end. Most people lose things that they care about at the end of their life when their loved ones start to die. They lose a kid in a car accident, whatever. But which is tragic. But I guess in the beginning of life, if it happens to you, it's amazing because you walk through life with just complete lack of concern for yourself. You're really like I really identify with the archetype of a soldier. That's why me and Marcus get along. I mean, he's ex-military, and I've had a lot of scruffings on the street myself. Can't say that every time I've held a gun, I've had a badge on me that made it legal, but we kind of get along that way. And the only way you can do that is if you just really don't care if you live or die. So bleeding back to life and business, most of you guys want to make 10 grand a month, 20 grand a month, 5 grand a month, starting a copywriting agency, starting a business, appointment setting, whatever. But there's a lot of things blocking you, and most of those can be traced down to fear. Look, I mean, you guys and some of you guys are in my DMs. We can get on a 15-minute call. I can tell you exactly, like step 1, 2, 3, what you need to do to start making 10 grand a month in 2 months. That's not a fucking scam. I dare you, fucking do it. I've done it before. But you won't do it. You won't actually fucking do it because you're scared of like, oh, what do you mean like send 30 aggressive DMs? I'm not an aggressive person. Well, why not? Do you want 10 grand a month or not? Right? Do you like I don't want to send like cold email. I don't want to like learn to code. Well, do you want 10 grand a month or not? So that's what this space is about. It's like, what do you actually want? Why do you actually want to start business? So back to my story, it's just very dark, and it's driven by pain. It's constant pain. You can hear the way I talk. I'm not a very broken, like classically broken person, I don't think. I'm not pessimistic and stuff like that. It kind of morphed into this beautiful flower that grew on a graveyard, if you want to use that metaphor. It's like the graveyard was me, and flowers start growing, and the soil is fertile there because of all the dead bodies rotting in the ground. If you want to make it even more explicit.
I can vouch for that.
There we go. So it's really that's really the motivation behind everything. It's the central guiding North Star of my business and life is just chaos. Like, how can I fuck shit up? What is the biggest enemy I can challenge and win? And it doesn't come from a place of ego. I really don't have any concern if I live or die. And I've proved that on multiple occasions, and I have the scars to show it. It's a very strange detachment of you and your capabilities. It's just driven by violence. Like imagine like those action clips you watch on YouTube of like some guy running into a burning building. Well, in my world, the building is always burning. It started burning years ago, and it's never going to go out. There is no achievement, no supercar, no money, no women, especially, no drugs, no travel, no experience that can ever cure my pain. And that's why I'm fearless. Because you can never do anything worse. My house is already on fire. Come fight me, right? So I'll get you on a call, ask you, how much is on your credit card, how much you're paying for rent, and I'll take all your money. And you'll be willing to do it. No, I'll do it. I've done it before. Some of you people on this call know I've done it before.
Yeah.
I mean, Jara here, Jara, Marcus, I was telling you about today, like the guy setting appointments for coaching. That's Jara, the guy next to me with the shirtless,
Oh, what's up,
big
man?
pecs in the picture.
Yeah, I see.
Yeah. So yeah. Anyway, that's my side of the story. Marcus, continuing on here with your story,
Yeah, what you want to hear?
when did you realize that this was your motivation? When did it start? What was the genesis of it? When did you realize this motivates you? When did you develop it?
When I realized I could achieve doing, when I realized I could achieve things on my own, when I didn't have to rely on people above me to do the work, if you understand. So, yeah, when I got kicked out of the military, actually, maybe 1 year, yeah, 1.5 years ago, when I got kicked out of the military and I stood on my own feet, no fucking place to sleep, had to go back to my parents' house. That's when I realized I want to make big money, and I can't be making it when I'm employed by somebody else. But obviously, don't be a fucking idiot and leave your job without having something to go to. Make something for yourself and then do the smart choice and go out on your own. That's my advice, at least.
And do you poke holes in this ideology? Like, do you question, like, because you want to take care of your family, you want to make millions of dollars so that you can give them a good life, but do you ever sit there and question, like, do I actually want that? Like, have you ever asked that question to yourself, and what comes up after you ask that?
Yeah. So when I ask myself that question, I know the answer already because I've accepted the terms of living this life and playing the game already. And I decided that the day I left and decided to go out on my own and do this entrepreneurial shit, you could say. I accepted the terms then, and I still do. But sometimes, of course, I question my motives. It isn't only for my family. I want to become a leader, and I want to make my own rules. So it's obviously selfish as well. But I feel in this life you gotta be a little selfish and think about yourself.
Yeah, yeah. So just asking the question to myself and then answering it. Have I ever sat there and questioned my motives and what happens when I do? Well, if you missed it, if you just joined, my motive is violence. I lost a lot of shit and I was hurt real bad, and it will always be that way, and nothing will ever heal it. I don't think I should ever heal it because it gives me tremendous power. I'm fearless entering any situation because you have already what is most valuable to me has already been taken, and nothing will ever trump that. Nothing will ever heal it. That's why I can do anything. So that's the story. Have I ever sat there and questioned it? And what do I think after I question it? I have thought about whether I actually want to continue doing stuff like that. And it's just like a coping mechanism because it's more comfortable than just changing. But I've noticed something interesting about why I do difficult stuff. Like yours, a person's response after they get exactly what they want tells you a lot about the person. When a guy gets into a lot of money, what he spends money on, how he spends his time, tells you more about the guy than when he didn't have those means. It's just an amplifier, right? When you got 10 million bucks in the bank, what you choose to buy, what you choose to do every day kind of reveals a lot about you. And every time I win, I kind of get a feeling of disgust. Like every time I do the biggest shit that I do, it's a disgusting feeling followed it follows that event because I think it's like you're just amazed at how meaningless everything is in the face of all that you have lost. And you're kind of getting bigger and bigger shit just to prove to yourself that the fire is still strong and the house is still burning because so much of your identity is wrapped up in that. And I don't think that's a terrible thing, to be honest. I never was like a super happy, jovial person. I wasn't a happy kid. This is just my temperament. and I'm completely comfortable being a fucking, guy on the fringes of society, very private, reserved. But when the army's coming, you know who to call. And I'm perfectly happy being in that role. It matches my personality perfectly. So I get shit all the time, especially from women that are involved in my life. They criticize a lot the fact that there's a lot of imbalance. And I guess the excuse that they use is I'm young. So they're like, oh, when you get older, you understand. Well, this kind of mentality actually got me to where I am. That's not, that's worth something. So even if it's, even if it's completely wrong, which I doubt, or even if it's completely unhealthy, which I doubt, what's to say it can't get me for the next 40 years? So I think this whole balance thing is quite biased. Is that the right word? Or like not complete. It's not a complete picture.
Yeah, you can say
What
that.
do you think
It's
about that?
nuanced. Yeah, I think it's nuanced. Depends on what
Well,
you do,
okay.
right? If you want to become extremely
Exactly,
successful
exactly.
in one area, you can't really have 50-50 balance on something else. If you need, yeah, so
So
if you need to
let
put in 10,000 hours, let's say, to become a master in something, like people preach, how the fuck are you supposed to do that in a few years if you're going to balance everything else in your life at the same time? So that's my
true.
opinion, at least. Balance is good, but it's nuanced. But yeah, continue.
Marcus, can I ask you a
Yeah.
question? We've had some private phone calls. For those of you who don't know, me and Marcus work pretty closely together. We have some private phone calls where I've suggested some things which made you question your sense of ethics. You had to pull out the moral compass, dust it off, and put it to use to find your way
Yeah.
in the forest that I dropped you in, the forest of depravity. And after knowing that about me, like I generate these ideas every day, which make you have to use your moral compass. Do you What do you think of that? Like, do you think it's a destructive trait? Like, are you concerned about it? Would you trust me taking care of your children? Just give me some feedback.
Yeah, you're asking a good question now. Okay, I won't fill in all the details, obviously. But
Thank you.
yeah, when you asked me the question, I needed to sit down and think for a minute to myself about what the fuck is it actually about, right? Because I started to question the motive about it. It wasn't about the action, you know? It was more about why we're doing it, right? But I don't think it's destructive. I just think you have a free mind, and I would not be afraid of you taking care of my children in the future, right? But obviously, we're not going to fucking do that. Not the children part, but the job. We're not going to do that. And I think it's good that you have people around you with a moral compass when yours when yours fails.
It didn't fail, bro. It never existed.
Okay, yeah, that's the difference. Yeah, true.
Yeah, so two things to that. I think, first of all, Marcus, when we tried to kind of hide the details of this private phone call, the way you talked about it kind of made it sound worse than it actually is. But we're just going to leave it there because it's a public setting and we're going to let people think what they think. Uh, that's the first thing. The second thing is, I think a lot of the times people misunderstand what I mean when I say I'm out here to cut motherfuckers for no reason. It's quite unambiguous statement, but there's a lot of nuance there. I have a very strong sense of loyalty. I will take a shot for you if I know that you're the kind of guy to take a shot for me. I viciously defend, especially weaker people that I'm around, especially younger men, and most of the time women. So that's built into me. Violence is a very necessary tool. I mean, everyone in this space understands the power of violence, the significance of violence. Why are you in your country? Why are there no rocks going through your house? Why are you not being bombed right now? It's because of violence. The lack of violence you get to enjoy is because of violence. Because the government of your country will shoot anyone that comes through the border with a gun. wants to invade your country, unless you're in Ukraine. But violence is necessary for upholding everything that we know. So I'm just because I'm more public about it doesn't mean that it's not in all of us, and we don't appreciate it. But Marcus, let me ask you a fucking question.
Yes, sir. Hit it.
Why? What is the appeal of talking to me? I'm genuinely quite curious. Like some of the people in this space talk to me every day. Why is it? Is it just because of the money? Because like I seem like to myself quite an inconsiderate person, very selfish, and very, very impolite at the very least. So why?
Because I like talking to you because you're really direct and you don't, I'm looking for a word. You don't, yeah, you have no fucking filter, man. And you say what you mean. You say what you think, I mean. And sometimes it's really good to hear that from somebody else who is good at reading people and reading their intentions and stuff like that. And also, you're really talkative, so you're talking most of the time, and that's good. But you also listen, and you bring value to the table. I like to talk. I like to talk with valuable people or people who know shit that I want to know.
Yeah, I'm just thinking, because you're the host of this space, do you see anyone making requests to speak? I want to hear Jara's thoughts on this.
Yeah, no, not anyone now. But anyone can make a request to speak if they want to, by the way.
Yeah, I'm interested to hear Mina. I was talking to her in DMs the other day. She's interested in doing some copywriting stuff, and she's quite interested in sales. Or Winston. Winston. We had a bomb ass conversation just now. The level of
Okay, I'm letting her in.
business. Who?
Mina.
Sweet.
How's everyone?
Hello, Mina.
Hi, I'm good. How are you?
I'm doing great.
Great.
It's really nice to listen to you guys talk. You really do sound like you know what you're talking about.
Well, I've been cut a lot of times, so the fact that I'm still here means I had to figure some stuff out.
It sounds like it. I'm looking forward to learning more from you. I do enjoy reading your tweets a lot because they, like Marcus said, they're very direct, and you're just very cutthroat. I love that in people, especially if I'm learning from them or trying to learn from them. And yeah, looking forward to more tweets from you.
What do you want, Mina? What's your big goal?
I'm gonna sound like a crazy person, but I just want to be better than everybody else.
I feel you.
Oh, okay. What color is your hair? Just out of curiosity. No, I'm just joking. Please continue. Why better than everybody else? That's not a common thing to say.
Yeah, because I know this. I've been studying a lot of things throughout my life. I'm originally from Central Asia. I grew up in 3 different countries. I've seen a lot of things. I've seen a lot of people. I've seen a lot of mindsets. And since I started working with my own, I realized that
this space was downloaded via spacesdown.com. Visit to download your spaces today.
There's literally nothing I cannot do. Then I might as well just choose one thing and become the best at it to a point, like I said in the DMs to you before, be so good that people imitate you. Becoming legendary, I will say that's what I want more than anything.
So I think in your mind, becoming legendary has a slightly different motivation than what I imagine it to be in my head. But why do you care about being legendary? Sounds like a lot of work.
Yes.
And there's not a lot of point, is there?
Well, you do have a point, and I'm sure everybody sees this differently. Being legendary, like everybody has a different definition of legendary. But in my opinion, for me personally, is using my words, my copy, to create something that will change people's lives for the better. I may sound cliche when I say this, but I think that's the goal.
No, you don't. You don't sound cliche. You sound like a good person.
Thank you.
Yeah, the contrast is stark. So I notice a lot of good people because compared to myself, it's quite obvious. It's like black and white.
See, the thing is that from what I'm understanding from your conversations is that you call yourself dark, but I would not call that darkness. You know, I'm assuming you're from Georgia originally.
Georgia? You mean the country?
Yeah, the country. Or am I wrong?
No.
Where are you from?
No.
What's your nationality?
Ethnically, I'm from the same part of the world that you are from.
Oh, see, I could tell that because men from where I am from, at least, are like that. They're very cutthroat. They're very direct. They just get things done. The only thing they want is to protect their families and get what they deserve or don't. It's up to them. So,
are you from Georgia? Nina?
No, I'm not. I'm from Uzbekistan originally.
Wonderful.
Yeah.
Cool.
And this is what I grew up with. I was surrounded by men. Well, there was a contrast. There's two sides. There were men that were lazy. They would get fat and just they'll just lay around doing nothing. And there were men that were extremely successful. They will always get the things they want. Always. They'll put in the work no matter what. And you're just like that. So I did not grow up thinking that is some kind of darkness or it's wrong or just like you're some kind of a ninja or just like a killer or something. It's normal. Well, for me personally.
I get what you're saying. But I was just speaking to like the deeper motivations of what I've noticed inside my head when I do things and why I do things.
Yeah.
It's not just willing to do whatever it takes to succeed, because in that case, the end goal is to reach the goal. But in my case, the end goal, fuck the goal. I don't care about the money or anything like that. I was like this since forever. The end goal is just the violence. That's what I mean when I say the whole point is to just challenge the biggest enemy and to just fuck with the biggest pile of shit and turn it into gold. So it's a temperament thing, I suppose, not just like a means of execution, like you're saying.
Interesting. I think we understand violence from different angles. So when you say violence, you're talking about the process of becoming better. Those moments when, like, let's say, for example, when men go to gym and they work out, that is, I'm assuming what you're referring to as violence, but it can be used in many different contexts.
Well, yeah, partially, but in my head, violence is like, I put it to you this way. When I wake up first thing in the morning, for as long as I can remember, after all this was taken from me and I became this person, all I thought about was, whose throat am I going to cut today? That's all it is. Whether it makes money, whether it takes me to jail, maybe whether it takes me to a different country, whether it takes me to meeting Marcus in Norway, smoking a cigar, or getting on Twitter Spaces and talking to you, doesn't really matter to me. It's just bloodshed. Like 300 years. If this was 3,000 years ago, I'd be one of those crazy motherfuckers riding around on a horse, burning villages because they wouldn't give me their last roll of wheat. I'm dead serious. So it's hard to explain, and it's funny how I say it like so unironically, but I think I've just had to come to accept that that's what I am, because it's this weird.
Yeah, but
you know. Go ahead.
Sorry. No, there's nothing wrong about it. I honestly respect that. I respect that in men, being direct, honest, and very straightforward. Is that what I respect in men? I adore them for that. So what I think you're referring to is more like, you say violence, but I will say it's just ruthless execution. You're just like, from what I read in all of these self-improvement books, that I think this is what they describe when you divorce yourself from the goal itself, from the end goal, from the result, and just drown yourself in action and just execute endlessly. That's when you enjoy the process, and that's when you learn the most. I guess this is what I want for myself as well. I just didn't know how to put it properly. But in your words, I guess I love violence as well.
I see. Well, if you're looking to cultivate that in yourself, the best way is to surround yourself with people who are like that. It doesn't necessarily turn you into that person because it's really, really hard to make a person who's not naturally cutthroat become a cutthroat. I've tried, I've been paid to do it, but it doesn't really work. You have to kind of leverage off other people around you who are like that, which is why every village needs a berserker,
Yeah.
right? To use some, you
Of
know,
course.
Norwegian mythology.
Vikings.
Fucking
Yeah.
Viking, yeah.
So yeah,
You would be
Marcus
a
is from Norway.
Yeah.
Yeah.
great Viking, my friend.
I'm too small, man. I'm too fucking small.
Me with your mind would be a great Viking.
Yeah, that's right. Marcus is like 6'3", he's like a model
Yes, sir.
and stuff like that, guys. So that's why on my profile you just see a bear, because the bear is actually less ugly than me in real life, but Marcus gets to put his real face because it's actually worth looking at.
Thank you.
I'll be honest with you, the height of a man, yeah, it does matter, but it doesn't. Does that make sense?
It isn't the end all be all, right? It's the personality that fucking
Yeah,
matters.
exactly. I've seen a lot of men that were taller than the freaking trees and they wouldn't do anything with their life. They were so lazy. I actually Pakistan. Really tall. These are Kazakhs, Uzbeks, and these are the descendants of um, nomadic people, and they're tall. We're talking 6'2" in the 8th grade. We're talking 6'5" by the end of the school. By the time they graduate, and some of them will literally have no drive. They will have no purpose in life, and that just there's no spark in their eyes. That is the most disgusting thing to see in a human being, no matter woman or man, I will say. But that's just my opinion.
Yeah, it makes sense. I mean, like I said in the beginning, coping mechanisms. If you're in a corner and you're like 5'8" and 3/4, not speaking from experience, but just giving an example, and you know you're 55 kilos soaking wet, and you got like problems, and you got to deal with them. You have to just turn into like a spiritual giant
Yeah.
to deal with it, and that's where you get like the spark in your eyes.
Yeah, exactly. It's how big is your spirit, how strong is your will, how strong is your drive to get things done and to achieve. That's what I think, at least.
Yeah,
I agree.
Marcus.
Yeah, I agree with you guys. But action speaks louder than words. It's fucking cliche, but it's true. But if you have a great spirit and you're also able to put in the work, then you'll have a great future.
You know, speaking of putting in the work, Mina, I don't know if let me entertain you with some stories about me shoving my foot up Marcus's ass. We started working on a Thursday night, I believe, and it's like 9 p.m. or 10 p.m. or something. He was in DMs, and we were saying, yeah, we should do this, we should do that. We had never spoken before, and then I was like, you're free in 30 minutes or something like that. Jumped on a call. He parted ways with his beloved money, never to see it again for the next, few days. All it took us a few days. And he's just consistently unfuckwithable. I'm not sure whether it's the Viking blood or the height. Maybe he has better reception to receive the good vibes from the universe, something like that. His 8-pack functions as kind of like a channeling antenna, focusing the energy down to his balls. But he's a very solid person to fuck with. It's entertaining because it's like one of those squishy toys that you give to like a kid that never breaks. It just squishes and it just bounces back, you know?
Yes, it must have something to do with height because I'm 5'10" I'm pretty tall for a girl, so I guess I have that in as well.
Sounds good. Yeah.
Yeah.
Well, I'm unfuckwithable because I've taken a lot of shit in my life. And you can't really, in business and talking to guys that are teaching you stuff, telling you you're a fucking idiot every day, you can't really put your feelings at work. When you're talking to a person that's trying to teach you something, you can't really get mad when they tell you, oh yeah, you did a stupid job, or you did a bad job today. Something like that. You need to improve this, you're whatever, right? You can't really put your feelings to work and get mad about them telling you you're not good enough when you're paying them to be better, right? I mean, for me, it's pretty self-explanatory, but I appreciate the fact that you're telling these guys it.
Yeah, Mina, go ahead.
Yeah, as I was saying that, it's really, well, actually, just like Alan said, it's really important to have a mindset that you cannot be broken. You can be bent, but you cannot be broken. So from my experience, I was working as a waitress for 6 years in a family restaurant owned by a Russian lady and an Egyptian man. That is a deadly combination, especially for your soul sometimes, because these people are really result oriented. They're amazing people. They're kind, they're loving, they're caring. But when it comes to business, they're ruthless. If you do a mistake, you're just done. You just pray for your saving. But if you spend your time with people that are like that, are ruthless, they're business oriented, their mindset is, I cannot be broken, I can be bent, but I cannot be broken, you will always succeed. You will learn to have a thick skin, thicker than anything else. Working 6 years for these people, I learned so much. And as a waitress, you have to be upfront, always smiling, always entertaining the environment around you. And one thing I learned is that you can never take yourself too seriously, and but you have to take your job serious. If there is a criticism, it's always constructive. You always have to be learning, and you have to be improving constantly, but never take it personal.
Mina, you're a very positive person. It's interesting.
Thank you. I have to be.
How come?
Because the thing is, I've always been a very positive person since I was a kid, but there were situations in my life that I could have chosen to be. Well, they put me in places and around people that could literally make me the most miserable human being, but I chose not to because I like to laugh a lot. I really, honestly, sometimes I wake up and just start giggling for no reason. I'm crazy like that. A little bit, not too much.
Before we continue, I would like to. Arjuna asks.
Interrupt.
Yeah, Arjuna asks.
You like to interrupt what I was gonna say rudely, as if I don't matter in this life. It's okay. Don't worry about it.
Okay, so Arjuna actually asked to join us in the speaking.
Oh, great! He's a great guy.
Let's go.
And also welcome that boy. If you wouldn't mind, Alan, you can catch him up on what we're talking about.
Yeah, so that boy, this whole space is about what we truly want in life and business, the dark motivations, or recently I learned light motivations in Mina's case, behind what we do in especially work, because a lot of the reasons we fuck up can be boiled down to the fact that we're just chasing something we don't want. So that was the gist of the space. We started off by talking about what motivates us or what drives us. We talked about our stories a little bit. Now we're just riffing, getting speakers on. So Arjuna, please feel free.
Hey Alan, I want to know, what are your dark motives? What do you want from life?
What do I truly want from life?
Yes.
Slaughter. Hurt people.
Be specific.
No. What? Be specific? How much more specific does it get?
Yeah, that's
Then
true.
why aren't you training for the UFC?
Why don't I train for the UFC? I do the UFC. I've been doing the UFC every week outside my house without gloves, my friend. Grew up in a rough place. Also, it's a lot easier to slaughter people when you have capital to deploy.
Which brings me to my next question. What do you want from business? I see you posting about enslaving the earth. So, how do you plan on doing that?
I see you talking about enslaving the earth. Never thought I'd hear that line asked to me. But what am I talking about doing there? So I'm fortunately for me, unfortunately for the rest of the people outside this space who are not my homies, I'm a deadly combination of muscle and brains. So I learned to code at a young age. So I'm not like one of those dorks that has like the posture of a shrimp that doesn't do anything serious in real life. I have like less than 200 followers. I'm not really big online at all. I never posted content and stuff like that because I had like a life that was quite okay, and I did a bunch of stuff. So enslaving the earth, the way you do it now, I believe, and this has to be a subject for another space, and maybe we have to restrict entry because I don't know if I want this stuff to be public. Basically, look at all the forces at play in society, all the cultural narratives that are woven in, like the conflict between left and right, the black versus white, the climate change versus the conservative people, women versus men, red pill, black pill, purple pill, brown pill, fucking rainbow pill, doesn't matter. All these are just pieces of propaganda meant to divide. And you know what they say, divide and conquer. We can't, the people who run the world, we can't come and take their job if we're too busy fighting amongst ourselves. So it's much easier to just pit all the slaves, all the brokies against each other and make us not united. Because once we're united, we come and take their job. We're like, well, why the fuck do we have to stay in this country? How come my passport says I can't leave this place like only 90 days a year or some crap? Fuck that. If you have enough men saying that, then the whole world goes to shit. Because you know, no one enforces any rules. It's just like a bunch of warlords roaming around, conquering different places, torching people shit. So the way you do that in the modern age is through code and through content. Code in the sense that Facebook has so much data about you. Companies you don't know have so much data about you. All these advertising agencies, they know everything about what you're going to do, what your children are going to do before you even know. They know more about you than you ever will. And they use that to shape policies. They use that to shape society in such a way that our fate is determined not by God or by the universe. It's determined by people who are way richer than us. So that's the game I want to play. That's why I talk about enslaving the earth. Look, it's not a noble path, and someone's going to end up at the top just by virtue of natural selection. Some dickhead, murderous, sly motherfucker is going to end up controlling all the resources, all the people, everything, and no one's going to know who he is because he's just good at staying hidden. And that motherfucker has a lot of power, and there's potential for a lot of destruction and unnecessary pain and sadism if there's a bad person in that position. Well, my logic has always been, if there's going to be some guy in that position potentially causing a lot of pain to the world by abusing his power, then that person better be me. Because at least I know the extent to which I will abuse my power. I don't know who this other guy, you know, like if I'm going to destroy the planet with AI, if the planet is going to be destroyed by AI and someone's going to accidentally push the button, I want to be the guy pushing the button. Because if someone's going to do it anyway, I would rather be me, you know? So that's a true story of why I started programming, actually, way before it was cool. Does that kind of answer your question? Indus, nice to see you. Big dog in the space. Just to catch you up in this, we're talking about like what we truly want in life and business, as in why we chase what we chase. Because most of the time, I think we fuck up in the things we're doing, specifically with goals and business and stuff, because we're just chasing things that we don't actually want. I mean, you're not making 10 grand a month in your agency because you don't want to make 10 grand a month. You just don't want to be lonely. You don't want money. You just want to have friends that money can afford you. So you're not in it for the, it just clouds your judgment. So does that answer your question, Arjuna?
Yeah, thank you.
Tell me about your life, Arjuna. What do you do? Who are you?
I resonate with your policy of not sharing much online, but I am. Hold on a minute, I'm rolling a joint.
I respect that.
Sure, we'll continue and then we can come back to it. It's all right.
Yeah,
Indus, is that you on the picture? You look like a fucking Chad.
Yeah, he's a fucking G, man. He'll break your leg by just staring at it. He's a Muay Thai fighter, I believe. And I think he's rolling around in Thailand too, which is very interesting. Let's just talk about that for a second. I think it's actually very humorous how everyone who's born in Southeast Asia, pretty much under the age of 28, spends their entire life trying to get their ass out of Southeast Asia, to go to the US and Canada and Australia and UK and stuff. Sorry?
absolutely right.
Exactly. And as soon as we get out, what do the white people do? What do the white people do? They come straight with their, second home visas and stuff, start settling, posting courses about like Bali and Thailand. I'm not shitting on it. I'm just saying it's kind of ironic.
Well, it looks nice there. I want to go. Nice
This is a
islands and
circular
sun and
economy,
shit
my
like that.
friend.
If you grew up in Norway, my friend, you would understand. In this country,
Well, yeah.
it's raining maybe 270 days in a year. So some sun and a beach and cheap food doesn't sound that bad to me. But it's kind of ironic, right?
Yeah, well, the thing about Southeast Asia, speaking as someone who grew up there, is you got to know how to play the game if you want to have a good life. So I guess it attracts the more ambitious or more knowledgeable people from the West who want to have like a blank slate to draw up their little empire of corruption. Look at Indus. I mean, he looks like the kind of motherfucker who would start a revolution over there. Imagine like to overthrow the Thai government started by a white guy. It's a classic. I believe he's some kind of English or Irish as well, if I'm not mistaken. I don't know. I don't remember. So wouldn't that be funny? Irish guy at the head of a Thai revolution. But you have to know what you're doing there. You have to make connections, and we're actually quite racist. I don't know if anyone else has noticed this if you've been to Southeast Asia, but we're very, very openly racist. There's a lot of, it's kind of like Russia in a way. Like in Russia, there's some clubs that you can't get into unless you're Russian. It doesn't matter how much money you have, if your stepdad is the president, you can't get in there unless you're ethnically Russian. And in Southeast Asia, it's kind of the same thing. There's a lot of circles you can't play in. I mean, there's people there, they're big, big dogs. Like people who, let me tell you a story. I was in a cigar lounge in a big Southeast Asian city that won't be named. And it was my regular cigar lounge. And I walked in there picking up my, 8 Shotman Magnum 54s as usual. And I sat down at this table by myself because I was, doing some work. And next to me was this guy in flip-flops with a huge potbelly, like the biggest potbelly you've ever seen. Dark as a pot of cocoa powder, which is normal for, that side of the world. But he didn't look very, he pretty disheveled and, he had glasses that were kind of smudged on. And I was sitting next to him for probably 2 hours, and he had about 15 cigars that day in the span of 2 hours. He would just smoke some and then, look at it kind of funny and then just put it down and then just get another one. And over there, Cuban cigars are expensive, and he was smoking Cohibas and stuff like that. They took out boxes of stuff that I didn't even know they had, and that was my cigar lounge. So I was like a prized patron, I would say, and I didn't even know they had some stock. They were keeping it for him. Turns out, a few weeks later, I found out that this is the guy who was basically in charge of the equivalent of the Federal Reserve printing or creating the money supply of that country. So he didn't speak a lick of English because I met him later on at another event a few months later. Not a single. Can you imagine, like a guy running a huge, important organization like that at a national level doesn't speak a lick of English? So luckily, I knew how to speak the local language there. I could talk to him for a little bit, but he's the most undercover, most skeptical guy to ever exist on the face of the planet. So you really gotta know what you're doing. I mean, that's why I kind of like Eastern Europe. Honestly, I fuck with Eastern Europe heavily because it's kind of a blank slate for you to impart whatever brainwashing you want instead of the government putting brainwashing on you and putting microplastics in your drinking water to make you gay. Anyone gets that reference?
Yeah, I got you.
Guys, it's been a pleasure. We're gonna have to pick this up again soon with a different topic, but I'm gonna have to jump off here. I've got a meeting in 10 minutes, and this place is 15 minutes away.
Sir, no worries. All right, we'll schedule another call. Thank you guys for tuning in, and I hope to see more
Thank
of you
you.
guys tune in the next
Thanks,
time.
everyone.
Yeah, last thing. Indus is a fucking G. Jera is a fucking amazing fucking appointment setter. Do not DM him. Do not fucking DM him because he works for me and for people in my squad. So, Jara, anyone who fucking DMs you, just send me their ads and I'll fucking DDoS attack them and their website so that no one can buy from them. I'll get Stripe to fucking flag their account because I'm territorial that way. Winston is fucking. I'm not even going to talk about Winston because the deals that we float, the deals that are being done are not for the public setting. But follow him, talk to him. He's a fucking G. He's setting up a bunch of an offer for lead gen right now. So if anyone needs that, go talk to him. Anyway, this has been a great time. I'm gonna leave you guys.
2 seconds.
Bro, 1 second.
Oh, hi.
Bro, I really needed to do this quick break. I'm gonna, yeah. Well, anyways, bro, the where you mentioned the H upmans, bro, I'm really like, I was a little bit like jealous of you, you know, because I was like going to my cigar store today, and guess what? They were out. They were fucking out. He had to fucking order some like a new box of it because they are constantly sold out, bro. And I'm like really craving a fucking Upman right now. I got another one.
Yeah.
I got another one like I don't know, some Casa Magna. I don't know. Like he recommended me one for the poker night tonight, but anyways, I just wanted to mention this. Yeah. Also to finish here things off, I really like this space. Was kind of something else for sure. Was really unique, like the dark motives. Also to hear everybody's story here, it was kind of inspiring for sure. And it's always nice to hear about other people's the destinies and
Cool.
fates.
Cool. Next week we're gonna stop jerking each other off, and we're actually gonna talk about practical shit, like more. Okay, maybe I shouldn't lead these spaces because we're gonna all get banned. But I wanted to say more edge or fringe business models. We're not talking about drug trafficking. We're not talking about hacking or anything like that, stealing people's credit cards. But a very wise man once said, chess grandmasters, they don't win the game by breaking the rules. They just understand the rules better than you do. So if you understand the spirit of that comment, you'll understand what I mean. We'll talk about that in the business sense, just to give you guys some tips if you're starting an agency, if you're doing whatever, with some nice, funny stories to back it up. Now I really have to go. Ciao, guys.
Ciao.
And feel free to invite your friends
Alan.
next time.
Alan, can I DM you?
Yeah, please. It's open.
GG, thanks.
Bye-bye.
Bye.
All right, bye, and thanks for the space, guys.
Yes, sir. No worries. See you guys next time.
See ya.
Thank you. Bye-bye.
This space was downloaded via spacesdown.com. Visit to download your spaces today.